Well, Liam, another season, a first full season rolls around. Are you feeling as prepared as you would like to be, bearing in mind this is your first pre-season with the team?
Yeah, definitely. I've been really pleased with pre-season. I think the first few weeks of training, lads got through it really well, and obviously had a really heavy game a week. So I think the tactical work we've done, recruitment in terms of the lads we've brought in, obviously the ones that we managed to retain, been really pleased. I think the lads look in a good spot, and I look forward to the weekend.
So let's just get it out of the way with any changes in terms of incomings, outgoings from when we spoke a couple of days ago.
No, nothing as of yet. No, nothing to update you on.
Fair enough. And in terms of injuries, you're waiting for a bit more detail from used scans. Have you had that, and what's the situation?
Yeah, it's going to be a little while, to be fair. Unfortunately, it's not looking great. So yeah, expecting him to probably be the best part of 4 weeks probably. Which, like I said at the time, it was a bit of a naughty tackle, obviously leading to the red card. So disappointed for him, but again, I think some of the context is mid-season, obviously in Japan. So trying to find a positive in every situation. Hopefully, the rest will do him some good, and we can get him up to speed, get him settled in the area, and then we obviously look forward to getting him back.
I'd imagine there'll be a lot of stuff for him to do, whether it's his rehab, but working on his English, getting used to what it is you'll be asking from him tactically, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. That's where we got a really good group of staff here. Matt Parsons, I know, was going around IKEA and Asda with him yesterday to help him out with bits for his apartment. So I know, we'll do everything we can. The chefs, the kitchen staff are fantastic in supporting the players. So he'll get everything he needs, but at the same point, there's a bit of need a bit of autonomy, need a bit of independence as well. So the best way for him to learn the language is to fully immerse himself in it, and he does that. To be fair, the lads are great with him. I know I sat with Nighty yesterday, and a few of the boys are taking him out for dinner. So yeah, we've got a great group here that'll look after him as well.
Is the way it should be. So injury wise, we know Rob's a couple of weeks at least. Anybody else that is not going to be available for Hull?
Yeah, they only have one looking like probably Ross McCrory's going to be out for a little while as well. Felt something in his hamstring, so. He's going to be out for a little bit, unfortunately.
Okay, so weeks rather than longer?
Yeah, probably weeks, yeah.
Okay, which is frustrating because actually having sort of had a really good defence last year, but definitely threadbare at times, you must have been going into this looking at least a couple of players in most positions and feeling pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah, no, disappointed for Ross as well. I thought he'd got himself into a good place. Like I say, he's going to be a little while, so it's one of those, unfortunately, part and parcel of it. I think in general we've come through pre-season quite well, considering I think how hard we pushed them. You want to get a real solid base into them so that most of the season's then about maintenance rather than building and developing levels of strength, conditioning, fitness. So overall, like I said, disappointed for Ross, but when I look at the group, been pleased that we've managed to get to the first league game with like I said, a strong squad available to pick from.
Have you known your sort of opening day team for a while? Is it something that you know now, or has it been sort of slowly percolating over the weeks?
Yeah, no, I think it definitely something that builds. I think you want to give everybody an opportunity, and I think that's really important. It's like how we work. We coach everybody. So today we do 11v11, but we mix it up and we coach everybody in it so that everybody when called upon or when steps in is quite clear on their role and how we want to play and what we want to do. But of course, I think as the games went on, and this week I'm a lot closer now in my head to what it looks like on Saturday. But at the same point, doesn't mean I won't be staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. tonight, tomorrow night, questioning everything, and making sure that obviously we're so invested in it that we try and do everything we can to get it right.
And obviously that sort of number 10 position is one you're still looking to recruit into, but you've got a variety of options of different styles of players you can use there. Is that something you would sort of do game by game in terms of horses for courses, look to have a more a runner one day or somebody more defensively minded, or all the different options you've got?
Yeah, definitely. I think not just a 10. I think in most positions I think we can do that. I think that's what and when we spoke on Monday, was one thing that we spoke about was having the options to change in games. When you look at forward line options with Fally, with Sinclair, with Naki, with Belly, you can change it in different ways. Sinks can play wide. You've got Sykes, Yanis, same as in the 10 position what we've currently got. So I think it's something that we've worked hard to coach and recruit, and that's what I quite like now in terms of having that potential to change what it looks like in game.
You've definitely got versatility with players able to play a variety of different positions. Just in terms of that 10 role, Jason Knight played it a lot of times last year. Is that something you would look to continue if you have to, or do you think he's better suited in that deeper line position?
Yeah, I think he's obviously we played him in the deeper position back end of last season, and I think he's really progressed. I know I played him their first game when I came in against QPR, and he ran everywhere, to be fair. But I think when you look at it now, I think he's come on masses in terms of his positional play, his game understanding, but still how and when to impose his strengths, which we know his energy is phenomenal. And again, I think he gives it to you in a different way when he plays slightly deeper. But I wouldn't rule anything out. I think in terms of I like him probably more deeper now. I think in terms of that. But I know what he can give you higher up in terms of, he was incredible at how he'd trigger a press when he played higher in the 10. So I think when I look at it, I think we've got the option of doing both.
You developed such good momentum towards the end of last season. Is it important? You want to win every game you play, so it's stupid to say you want a good start. Everyone wants a good start. But is it more important for that to try and just continue that momentum?
Yeah, it helps. Of course it helps. I think, we'll be doing everything we can to win on Saturday, and then on Tuesday, and then the following Saturday. And I think that's the approach. We work hard. We practice winning every day. I think everything in training is competitive. There's forfeits for everything. To try and instill that winning culture, that winning habit that we want. And then again, I think the biggest bit is, look, we'll do everything we can in our power to win on Saturday. But I think it's, especially early on, I think that there's still so much change and people understanding each other's games. I think it's, as with most things that I'll probably say to you over the course of the season, it's how you respond, it's how you react to winning and losing. And again, I think that's the bit with Championship football. Is such a long season with so many games. It's so relentless. It's how do you bounce back if you lose, and it's how do you stay grounded and get ready to go again, on the next one. And that's the biggest bit that for me is the group really progressed that, I thought. And it's, like I said, for me, it's not necessarily a new season. It's more of a continuation from last year and building on some of the good bits and obviously adding certain bits on top of that as well. So
opening game against Hull, new manager, which probably brings a slightly different style from what you had from them last year. What are you expecting from them?
Tough game as always. It's slightly different in how they play and what we expect. We've done our work. We've watched pre-season games, but it's always hard to gauge. It's slightly different. You step on the pitch and there's 20, 25, 30,000 there, and you're being asked to do one thing. It's then how do you cope with that pressure? How do you do you still deliver and do the things that you're asked to do? So we've done our work, but there's still a few days between now and then. They might add new players. There's so many different factors that will go into it that's why it probably just for me comes back onto us again. Control what we can, which is behaviours that I talk a lot about, but also our game plan, our principles, and how we go and impose and try and control the game in a way we want.
Thank you very much. Liam, as Ed pointed out, you sit here looking ahead to a full season as opposed to coming in mid-season. I just wondered how much work has been able to be done given the fact that you've had a full pre-season and no distraction of game compared to how much work you were able to do when you came in midway through a season?
Yeah, it's invaluable the time we get in terms of training time, which is why we structured a pre-season like we do. So we had everything planned before last season finished, and then it was a case of we break pre-season down week by week. So the first week we work on block, second week we work on press, third week we did build up, fourth week create finish, which runs through everything. So it just allows you, and the whole sessions then look like the game. So we don't just train for the sake of training. We train what the game looks like and how we want to play. So the principles will run through everything that we do. The week one we show the presentation on the principles, then we go and train it, and then we review it at the end of the week and show the lads the work they've done and how it transfers into, whether we do it in small groups, units, building it up into an 11v11 and what that looks like. So that time's massive, I think. And like I said, I've really started to see some of the bits come out. Some of it was obviously adding on last season because we've been quite fortunate to have an element of stability with the group. And then obviously with others it's about trying to get them up to speed with the rest of the group out and trying to get them aligned. So the time's been invaluable on the grass, and when I look at August, obviously there's more training time to have, so it's about continually growing relationships and understanding between the lads.
I was just saying to Rob Dickey there must have been, given how well the season ended last year, there must have been a bit of an itch that you were waiting to scratch before coming back to it. I bet you're buzzing to be back.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, thoroughly enjoy coming in every single day and working with a group we've got. They're great lads that are all in on what we're trying to do. And just how they step up and take ownership. So again, I'm really looking forward to seeing how much they can transfer the work that we do onto game day, where you add pressure, you add the fans, you add the result, you add so many other factors which we can't replicate that in pre-season friendlies or in training. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the lads respond, and I'm confident that we've got a strong group of leaders and a strong group of ambitious players that are willing to work hard for each other. I'm really excited.
And just you personally, if you think back to when you first came into the building to now, how much do you feel you've developed as a coach, as a person, being in this building and being in this job?
I remember being asked that at the end of last season by James. I think, it's quite difficult. That's the sort of thing I think you need time to reflect on and to go away and analyse and assess. And I'm so obsessive and don't stop working that sometimes to actually go there and have time to kind of decompress a little bit and analyse everything, you need that time. I've definitely grown, I've definitely improved, definitely still working on bits myself. And again, that's where I think quite fortunate, got a really strong group of staff. Obviously there were some changes in the summer with the staff that are behind the scenes, and again I think what we've got is a really driven group of staff as well that are doing everything in their power they can to try and create success here and create that winning culture that we want. So I like the fact they'll challenge me and they'll question bits and pieces, which again I think is important that we have that where we've got everybody analysing and assessing the way that we work.
And away from the job, how settled are you in the area of Bristol, I guess?
Yeah, getting there. I've still got a house full of boxes, so I'm looking forward to finally settling. Just a little thing. Some family moved up last Thursday, and it's just massive. I'm 15 minutes from the training ground, so it's little bits. Waking up and seeing my 6-year-old before I leave at 7 in the morning, and then getting home and having 15 minutes before he goes to bed. For me, that time's invaluable. Going back and seeing the family helps me switch off. Something I'm not great at when I'm on my own. So going there and having those distractions are massive. And we went into Portishead for lunch at the weekend, which really enjoyed that. And looking forward to exploring more of it, to be fair.
And the last time we spoke about Jason Knight and Max Bird's partnership. But since then, Jason's been permanently appointed captain. I mean, to no surprise, really. But at 23, he must be one of the youngest captains in the EFL. Just talk us through the decision to make him permanently captain.
Yeah, I think I made it quite clear when Andy left in January and Jamo stepped up as captain, made Knighty vice captain. So he'd obviously, had a taste of it last year. I think in terms of where Jamo wasn't playing and Knighty was, he'd be the captain on the pitch. But it's the old cliche. We run a leadership group. He's fundamental to that. But I think in terms of the bit I love about him, he just steps up and takes responsibility in any situation. There's no airs and graces. There's no ego involved with Knight. He does everything you want. He role models everything you want. He's fully committed to everything. So he epitomises everything you want as a professional. So for me, it's a no-brainer. And then I think when you look around it, he's got some terrific people supporting him. So obviously made Rob Dickey vice captain. But then beyond that, when you look at Naki, Joe Williams, Nazy at the minute, I think in terms of you've got some really experienced, good people, good professionals supporting him. So it's definitely a collective. But like I said, Knighty epitomises everything you want.
Going into a new season, what constitutes a success for you this year?
Progress will obviously be the biggest bit. I think we know what we're working towards in the longer term. I think the biggest bit for me is improving on last season. So rightly so, everybody should dream big, and fans, players, all of us. It's then understanding how do you get there, and that's the grind of game to game. So it's about more clean sheets than last year. It's about more goals than last year, which if you then break that down, it's more shots, it's more penalty area entries. It's that side of it. More goals from set pieces, less conceded from set pieces. If we improve on all those things, we'll hopefully get where we want to at the end of the season. So for me, it's definitely on progress from last season and making sure that we move forward in the right direction and get closer and push for the goals that we want to achieve.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you. Just a few from me, Liam. I just sort of touched on it a bit, but I just wonder if you can evaluate for us exactly how you think pre-season has gone on the pitch. I mean, just then you were talking about stats like penalty area entrances, shots and things like that. I mean, obviously the results have been good, but has it been in the style that you've been wanting to see and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, I get the added advantage in knowing what we've worked on, right? When I turn up on a Saturday or a Tuesday night, whenever the games have been, and know what we're looking for from the game. And there's definitely been a lot of the work that we've done transferred into the games. Of course, there's bits to do, but Willem at the weekend was a really good one for me in terms of we've done bits on the out possession. I felt quite comfortable at the weekend. I thought the lads did a good job of keeping control. Yes, they had a bit of the ball, but it was in areas that we were happy to concede it. And then the same in possession. I look back to last year, and we found it tough at times to get in the final third and beat a block. Whereas at the weekend, I thought it was 8 or 9 crosses. We had a couple of decent chances where we started to get into more areas that I wanted us to off the way that I know we can more and more frequently. So yeah, there's definitely been progress in the areas that we're looking for, albeit against an opposition that aren't championship level. So how you then transfer that into obviously championship games, could potentially be different. So again, I think as players are looking to try and do what we're asking them to, and are trying to make good decisions, understand how they get success, and then it's how do you now do that against the championship side.
And this might be something that another person might be better to answer, I don't know, but obviously you've had the full pre-season now, you've been here for a decent amount of time. Do you feel like when you're watching the players on the training ground or in a game or whatever, like this is a Liam Manning Bristol City side now?
I'll let you know in a month's time. I think the biggest bit will be definitely there's large elements to it. I know we still need to add in the window to I think I spoke about it on Monday in terms of the 10. I think in having a really balanced squad, it's definitely moved more in a direction, and having profiles and players that I think we need in order to get success in games. But they're definitely moving in the direction that I want them to. And again, I think that's the biggest bit where we'll continually improve. I do think we sometimes challenge the players in the hardest way, where we're asking them to understand why they make the decisions they do, and then empower them to step on the pitch and make them, which then the trade-off, sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. But I think when they really understand the game and they're in tune with it, and they make they know what they're looking for, they'll make right decisions more often than not. So again, I think that's our job is to coach the players to get better.
I think just 2 more from me. Firstly, on the transfer side of things, clearly work's being done, but what can you say about how confident or otherwise you are that anyone new is going to come in between now and the end of the window?
Yeah, I'm extremely confident we'll get people in before the end of the window. When, I don't know. That's the bit sometimes out of our control. But yeah, I'm confident we will. Yeah, it's unfortunately drives me mad, but it's a bit of a waiting game, and frustrating one at times in terms of how things happen. But it's part of the industry. I'm sure every head coach manager's got the same challenges.
And just lastly, ask the same to Rob. Any particular message to the fans ahead of not just Saturday but the season in general?
Dream big, definitely. Dream big, and then really get behind the lads. And good times, bad times. We're going to win games, lose games. I think we've all got the same goal. We're all working as hard as we can. I think it's then turning up and we ask the players to turn up and be the best version of themselves on a match day. I think that's a challenge for the fans as well. Can you, in good times, challenging times, get behind the lads and give everything? And I think, look, it's a sport that we're all emotionally fully invested in. It's a club that obviously the fan base are hugely behind, and it's that let's create some special moments this year and special memories, because ultimately for me that's what the game's about.